Ladies and gents, good evening. Welcome to Question Time Live, episode 126. Crikey. Crazy numbers, crazy numbers. Susan saying, why two lives at the same time? Just caught that at the bottom. I'm just trying something new that the platform is now allowing me to do, which is, and there'll be two links. One is a vertical streaming and the horizontal, because depending how you watch it, generally, it's a bit weird because I've got two of me here as well. Depending how you watch it, consume it, you might find it more convenient. So I thought I'd give it a shot tonight, obviously figure it out, see how it all plays out as well. So yeah, there we go. What absolutely mental day I've had again. You nearly didn't get me because the tiredness and fatigue kicked in a while ago. But I came up and I actually got some fish under potassium at the moment. So I thought I'll do this and do it here. It'll allow me to go out and neutralize that if I need to after. So I hope you're all well. Weather has been mighty interesting, hasn't it, this past week? I should imagine there's some unheated ponds. Fish looking like they've had enough alive right now. I'm incredibly happy with how my boiler's running. I must say, dreamy. It had a bit of a wobble when it got really cold, but a slight bit of tinkering because there's now that ability, and amazing. And the Sparky's been today, which has been really good. And I've had a really cool bit of kits plumbed in. I forget what they call it now. It's basically a switcher. It's like a mini computer for boilers. So this whole thing now is working off of incoming temperatures that come, the outgoing temperature of the tank, and monitoring the incoming as well of the vessel. And obviously allowing the boilers that when it's needed, it fires both boilers up to bring that temperature up. But when it's not, it switches one off. And then every 24 hours, if it's in that state, it switches the two boilers over so they're both being maintained. Absolutely fantastic. What could go wrong with that? No, impressive bit of kit. So that's all been done. Get some lights in my fish house tomorrow, the new one, which is all good and needed at the moment because kind of everyone thinking they can go home early. And I say everyone, it got out. So unfortunately this week I've had to postpone. I missed Toyota event that was this weekend, and the first koi show. Sorry, I'm just seeing I'm paying too much attention to the chat. Because personnel has just gone to shit here. It has been so stressful. Colin took ill last Monday, and he didn't get back in till yesterday. And then at the same time, the young lad didn't quite work out, so we agreed to go our separate ways on that one. Getting the Friday fever every week. And so that was that one. Obviously, Matty's left. Chris couldn't travel over from Ireland for health reasons. And I was just like, oh my God, what else? What else could it be right now? Actually, the Miss Toyotas over the weekend for that event, 1 or 2 started. Well, I thought, oh no, these going to start with sleeping sickness now. That'd just be the final straw. But yeah, there we go. We're slowly working back way through it. The Black Friday stuff we've been doing has been absolute madness as well. But I've even struggled to keep up with that the past couple of days. The joys, eh? The joys of not only running a fish farm, because we have had some sleeping sickness in amongst all that. Obviously, 2 new shipments have come in that I've had to be over the top of. The Saito Kwakus fell. They're about now. It's just under a week, I think. They've recovered really well. I've been on them big time. So yeah, it's good fun. Luckily, and I'm going to curse it here, nothing's really broken too much, but there's time for that yet. There's time. And Cole's back, so it's feeling a bit better, and Chris over next week. But yeah, the joys of not only running a business and a fish farm. I'll say the two separately. You merge it all together, it's just double the amount of shit, let me tell you. But still do it with a smile on my face, eh? Why not? Because again, the passion, it keeps it burning. And then bad days, I do just look and go, you know what? Don't be fucking complaining, because this is a hell of a thing you get to do every day. There we go. So, ladies and gents, feel free to get your questions firing in. I can see you're all absolutely bang at it. Someone there going to say, I go through stuff more than hot dinners. Yeah, not really. It just unfortunately don't work out for people a lot of the time. And when you're trying it with the younger generation, so to speak, and I know I tread the line there a little bit, it's not easy whatsoever. And there comes a point where you can only put up with so much shit despite someone doing a good job. So yeah, reliability, especially in this game when you're relying on people to keep maintenance done in a timely manner, fish health, all the rest of it. There can be no fucking around, and it's just not stuff I'm prepared to put up with anyway. So there we go. Let's crack on with some questions, I think. Let's see where we get. I've got a little video to share with you in a little bit. You might have seen it already. I have banded it around, but this is two fish I bowled up the other day that really have impressed me. And you'll sort of see as well. It's tying into a little bit of some that I've got on the horizon. Let's hit some questions up anyway. Matthew, hi Ricky, got Chagoi, Showa, Goshiki, Kyotsori, Hyotsori, Chiba, Shiro, going to feed Sakikari growth next year. Will I feed colour as well? What percentage to growth? I'll go with 50-50. So what we got there, the only one it could have any negative impact on realistically is the Shiro. Although generally, because Saki colour is so effective, and so it's so high quality spirulina, it has less of a negative impact on Shiroji. Now, I've used this in mixed pond and it's not really tanked the Shiros more than growth food will, in all honesty. Now, if you use it intensively, if they are prone to secondary colour, you will stimulate that to develop potentially a bit more in using something as aggressive as Saki colour as well. So bear that in mind. But I think if you want to go with a general mixed pond, I think there's no harm in going up to about a third colour to 2/3 growth, or 25% to a third of colour, and leaving it there should be more than acceptable. Plus, obviously, the colour is a crazy money. So if you can save yourself a bit, I think it's probably worth it. Even Ricky, hope things are a little better with Cole being back. Absolutely. Have you ever regretted selling the koi? As in, it's developed a lot better than your expectations. Any come to mind? No, not right now. There must be one. There must be one in there that I can't particularly recall. The problem is I don't get to see too many. There's not a lot of sharing of ones, a lot of ones that do go out. I would say, I mean, one that's just put there to mind, I don't regret it. I regret it in the sense of I now want it as a parent fish. So Danichi Toyota, the 88 centimeter Kinsen offspring Kohaku, it's just such a dreamy fish. Now, at the time, it was the most expensive fish I bought. It also was the fish that when I advertised it, the client who I did later sell it to, a heavyweight in the koi world, is obviously came on board as a result of that. And it's been the fish, there at the beginning of the journey, gone on. So in that I don't regret it, but it's a fish I would love to be able to attempt to spawn from at some point, but now it's not mine. So there's a whole load of negotiating and dealing and stuff to be done. But right now, I mean, nothing, because she's got serious show potential. And I don't even think that's going to happen until she hits over 90 cm either, which she will do. I mean, I've been put 8 centimeters or 6 on this year. That's quite remarkable for a fish of her age and size. I think still now only 5.5 years old as well. Just such a phenomenal piece. So yeah, I think regrets in that sense. And as well, given, I mean, it was a considerable sum at that time. Well, I mean, not a thing to what she's worth now, but this is another problem from that sense of when they become the value that they are now. Selling them is also another problem for that price. It swings and roundabouts, but the regret bit really only comes from that part that I'd love to say that chance. Let's see if that happens in future. Who knows? We'll get the show bit out of the way first. Now then, pal. What size pipe did you use for your diffuser for your moving bed? Going to try and make my own, or as I have issues getting all my media to move? Yes. So it's I think it's the EA LPD, natural LPD tubing, which I think is 10/12 mil, 10 internal, 12 external, if I remember correctly, is the stuff we use. But it's on Evolution Aqua's website anyway. And no doubt Evolution Aqua stockists, some will likely have some of it anyway. Evening, Ricky. Oh, yeah. That was a good fun. Yes, Paul, we had our DK Shiro Grow Out Selection event last night on a live stream. And I was surprised, Paul, I'm going to say, when you didn't crop up. I thought, my God, has he actually forgot? Because you're normally right there with all your own work done, pal. Morning, Susan. Mickey, right. Hi, Ricky. If you were able to relocate and set up in Japan, which region would you choose? I know you spend most of your time in Niigata area, but I'm curious where you'd pick. It would be that. For me, absolutely. It's kind of like that homeland. You've got such knowledge in that area as well, just to pick up from, and obviously knowing what's happening and going off. And I think it's obviously the area I've got the most understanding with support network. If you look at it like that, there's so much more, but it's the homeland, isn't it? I think if you look at it even from a commercial perspective, I mean, you've got times of the year when you've just got business and footfall flowing freely. Going down in the south and doing that as I have, it's a hell of a lot more work cost. But possibly easier in there's getting land and infrastructure for mud ponds and bits like that. But I think Niigata's got that charm, and it's I just think given the people there and access to that knowledge as well, it's got too much going for it in that respect. Good question though, Mickey. Evening, Andrew. Evening, Richard. Have you found that the multicolored golden corn tosi are more likely to develop Kanoko than starting with a solid color? Do you think the Ginrin are less likely? So it depends which one. The solid color is in the Kimatsuba style. It's a very different Kanoko. In fact, it's not even particularly looking like a Kanoko. They get this crazy red glow when they get big. But then other than that, yeah, everything else, Ginrin, non-Ginrin, no, it seems about the same to me. It's just that type I mentioned there, they're a very different fish in the way it comes through. But as for the rest of them, no, non-Ginrin, they all seem even growing at the same kind of rates as well, to be fair. This year's batches seem to be quite special, though, I must say. I've got more than ever looking really special. Don't know if anything's changed there. I know it's obviously tinkering all the time, but I'll never get to know all of that information either. Oh, Susan, there, why the two lives at the same time? We spoke about that. Now then. Right. Evening, Ricky. Evening, all. When changing your water temperature up or down, what increments do you change it by each time, and at what interval, i.e. once per week? Yeah, I think a lot of this depends on where I'm dropping from and to. Now, when I'm coming down, it's always slower than when I'm going up, because it can only go up at a certain pace anyway, depending on what heating system that you have got. But yeah, I'll generally, I mean, when I'm coming down, I don't like, over the course of a week, I might lose 2.5 degrees if I'm going that way. The thing is, you want to step it down. You've got to let the environment adjust. You're potentially changing feeding patterns at that point as well. there's a lot more to consider than just bringing it down, because you potentially cooling down your system. But also, if you're dropping from 24 to 20, for me, that's very different from dropping, say, 20 down to 16, because the environment's changing a lot at that point. And as you're doing your sort of winter cool down, if that's more where that's aimed at, for me, I think I mentioned before, I want to be doing it in little blocks to allow an adjustment. You could easily lose 2 degrees in 24 hours, because that generally happens anyway. I mean, in summer, you look at some of the swings, but then it's, so say you come down from 24 to 22, a little period of readjustment there, 3 to 5 days. And then again, but as you get cooler and cooler, I think you want a little bit more adjustment there and everything winding down. So it is a drawn out process for them reasons, because especially when you're cooling down to cooler temps, you don't want to stress them out in that period and then potentially need to warm it back up to fix that problem. Evening, Phil. Oh, that's it. That's in relation to the streams. Evening. Oh, I'm sure I put you on, Ray, once. Here we go, back to the corn. Out of 4, I have Ginrin Kiyosaki types. I was distracted. I wonder what that was. It's my bloody ink corner. It's one of me not golden tinfoil barbs, gold torpedo barbs. Pretty cool. Or albino, can't remember which they call them now. Ginrin Kiyosaki type, maybe 1 yellow. Out of 4, I have Ginrin Kiyosaki type, maybe 1 yellow that will develop. Look, it's reality. I mean, so I've got in my main pond that I think we're down to 35 of a. I mean, it's a pretty mental standard, to be honest. But that's having worked out, and actually, I've got a few in a couple of different ponds stashed away for a rainy day. Let's call it 40 out of 600 this year. Never ever forget the numbers side of koi, that if everyone turned out perfectly well, breeders would have wealth that only the oil conglomerates of Saudi Arabia, etc., would be able to rival. It's just not how it goes, unfortunately. So and especially with something as random as them, may also just need more time. Andy, how you doing? Evening, Marcus. Mounted top koi. Hey, Ricky. Hope all is well. Do breeders have a certain stocking level for the mud ponds to grow Nisai? Yes, they do. And they will roughly know from how many fish go in the impact that would potentially have on growth from experience. So if I put this amount, they'll probably, and the fish is this size, it'll achieve this size, but also knowing, reducing the stock as well might not necessarily increase growth, but it will increase volume output. So it depends what matters to a breeder. But yes, generally they'll have a formula from their experience of exactly what it is or how they want to stock that particular mud pond. Availability of water could also be something, if they know it's a bit of a dicky area for getting water in summer or anything like that, would also influence and impact that decision. David, how are we doing? Royston. I'm spooking a few of you with this, aren't I? This one is full screen for me, but can only see chat from this one, not both. There, that's interesting. Evening, Ricky. Plan to place my koi in a temporary setup in my garage this winter while I expand my pond for a 3rd time. I think there's a few of you who relate to that story. Any problems with using this opportunity to get heating for growth? No, not whatsoever. If you feel like the fish need it, then yes. If you feel like they've had a good summer, keep it a bit cooler. Just be careful if you're changing the system round as well, because I think people underestimate, how much biofilm is on the insides of your pipes, your pond walls. Are you transferring water over? I would probably recommend that side of it just to add a bit more maturity in. But yes, if you feel like they need some extra, then obviously I'm not a massive fan of growing them constantly 12 months a year. If you think they've had a good summer, give them a bit of rest, or even that, just keep them around 18 degrees and on some steady feed, so you don't really lose anything, ready for the next season after that. Yes, absolutely. Although a bit worse for wear. He's looking a bit more sprightly today. Oh, sorry, that's all your guys' internal chat. Oh, that was that one. Yeah, I'm going to disagree strongly with that comment. Evening. I saw that Goshki just took me back. I'm sure that was an Ikarashi Azumi Goshki I sold once upon a time. Cracking fish. Deliveries, it's depending on which ones we're doing, Ben. I know it'll be about your Tamasaba. I'll be in touch tomorrow, because if my driver can bring them over to you on Friday and you can take them, we're going to get them sent that way. It's primarily because they're sat a bit warmer. I don't want them to lose a load overnight. When conditioning a koi, what are ideal parameters and any routine you would recommend to get the best skin? Yeah, so 18 degrees for me, always the best temperature. You want feeding a lot more moderate at that, no more than 4 times a day. You want to be on more of a diet, something like Balance that's not hitting them, or even like Sake Pure White, or something that's going to flush them through and not, build up excessive proteins that can tint the skin or anything like that. So that's the one for me. And other than that, just by reducing all of that, a good system will naturally improve the water quality, and that helps with the conditioning as well. And obviously 18 is a nice temperature because you keep things active, but you're not like having to hit them hard with food to even maintain volume. It's not like it's going to fall off them. If you're at 22 and you're not hitting them hard enough with the food, you'll start stretching them out and you'll lose the mass. Then you do need to hit them harder to build it back up. It's a double-edged sword, that one. Pierre, hi Ricky. What are you showing? 2 stuff on YouTube. 1 to watch, another for free. Like I said, it's just this new thing. I want to see what it all does and see the experience for you guys, seeing though it's there. There's a lot more I can do with this platform, to be honest, if we don't. So I just seen this up as a new feature and thought I'd give it a shot. Hello everyone, and Ricky. I have what seems to be a carp pox issue in my pond. Will this ruin my show level koi? And adding nicer koi in the future, do I need to get rid of the affected? No, so you obviously must have gone a bit cooler, or they've had a bit of a dip in temperature, which has generated a bit of stress and probably brought out any carp pox virus there from any carriers or whatnot. Generally, as soon as you warm it back up, if you warm it back up now, that should go. Depending how bad it is, you might need to go, 18 might do it, might need 22, it might need 25. And the speed at what it clears might be, different depending. So, no, it shouldn't. Obviously, you leave it alone. Don't go trying to remove the lesions or anything like that. But it probably would be, and this is one thing when you are considering temperatures to drop down to, you might not want to take it too low to avoid that. If you're having sort of 18 degrees, I shouldn't see carp pox being an issue. There can be breeders, a couple of breeders fish more prone to it, but I'm not going to say there is one that I had a lot of experience and knew it was a very common thing, to the point where I stopped buying them because it was just doing me fucking head in, to be honest. But generally, keep it a bit warmer. You will stop that from happening and ever risk damaging. The only thing I have seen from it once upon a time is that the lesion being there for too long, sat on Benny pigment, can lead you a point where the pigment could strengthen around it because it's blocking light getting to that little area. So when it comes away, you might have a lighter patch of pigment, but it does depend how long that's the case for. Evening, Ricky. Your DIY backy on your ponds, do they have a 1 inch or so of water in the bottom? Yes, they do. All the time as the pipes. Yes, correct. There's always some. Nothing wrong with that either. What it's going to help do is obviously you've got that water splashing, a bit more oxygenation. It can actually as well, those showers easily you could turn into foam fractionation. because the way that works, if you've got good airflow at the top especially as well, create an airing column, the water at the bottom, as it hits, you've got obviously the contact with water and air. You're going to have foam fractionation building. And on them pipes, you could quite easily drill into one of the outlet pipes, come up with like a 1-inch pipe or something like that, and it would help skim the foam off to some degree as well. But yeah, that's how they are. Oh, that's referring to the pipe. It's 12 mil on the external. Hi Ricky, if we have fish with you for the shows, are they entered into them all, and is it an event or online? Yes, there's going to be the physical side to it. That's what we've had to postpone this weekend. So we're going to try and make sure we kind of cover it off both if we can. But the idea is initially they'd be physical, and we would film it as well to post afterwards for people who attended. And no, not every fish will be applicable for every show. It depends what concept we are going with. And we have reset the date for in January, which is the non-go Sankey one. So we're actually going to start to work on that very, very soon again. Hello, Ricky from sunny Southwest Florida, working on my son's koi pond, adding return to add current. Do you think that's good for growth? Yeah, I love current flow. I like my one directional one, like I say. And when you get that right, one of the ponds where I really have got my air bar, me flow, me 2 showers, really, they seem to be the smaller, and I have liked it actually, the smaller weird exit from the shower has really concentrated the flow really well. So loving that in that pond. It's got, you can see it's a 20-foot long pond, and there's great flow all the way around it. And, you know, body and performance wise, everything in there is cracking. So yes, go for it. Ricky, if you had a great koi in the UK stash you felt could be a perfect parent fish, can't do it. Yeah, that's as plain and simple as that. Japan doesn't allow imports of koi into the country. So yeah, and it would actually be handy because the male side of it, I still have some absolutely superb males here, would be quite useful. They really would, but it's an absolute no-go, that one. Seen they have genetically modified fish with jellyfish DNA to make the fluorescent. Have you seen this done to koi? No, I haven't. I think I'd be absolutely violated if I found out that had happened. Good evening, Ricky. I want to thank you for your advice on sleeping sickness. Koi is much better and eating down the pond now. Thank you very much again. My pleasure. Benjamin Mitchell. Yes, you have. Ben, hi Ben. I've just purchased the big Koaku and Sankey on the Black Friday deal. I've not updated group on that either. I'll do that after. What food are you recommending for feeding when I get them in the spring for maximum growth? Thanks again. Yes, so I'll sake akari always, and I'm a mix between balanced growth and colour. It's the only 3 that I use. Initially started in spring on balance, and when you're warm enough, getting onto the growth mixed with some colour will be the one. Alan Satch. Do you think adding extra clay during winter months can help the koi, as in absorbing essential minerals whilst on limited or no food? I don't think in that respect, Andrew. I think it's probably maybe overestimated what they'll actually absorb from clay. But I think there's no harm. If you're using a bit more of that when it's cooler, it's going to have more of an effect. But even just using your regular dose when it's cooler and everything's dialed down a bit, it's going to have more of an impact. Still one of my absolute favourite ways of using clay, if you've got the time and commitment for it. I haven't. It's the way I saw Fujo using it for a period as well, whether it was refreshes some every day. So it never actually fully clouds the pond or anything like that. But every day. You can see that you're not creating any mass change in the water, and you're adding that little bit. And certainly at the time, the fish you're doing it look absolutely amazing. Evening, Ricky. Pond rebuild, 4,500 gallons, one bottom drain and skimmer. I have two options, Nexus 320 and brushes into 600 litre moving bed. Oh, no, not this one again. I'm sure. Did I answer this last week? Again, it's going to be personal preference, right? If you're having any drum, ORs is going to be top of my list there, just in the way that whole thing is built, put together, spares, reliability, you name it. I've seen it from the one that I've been running. I still am running here and trying. I mean, genuinely, I've just forgot the thing exists, other than topping the pond up a bit more. It's a pump-fed one as well, so it's not even really like that's critical to its performance. And for me, that's definitely a way I can see them being even more reliable as well for my use, not for you guys. So it's a tough one. And I think what I reverted back to as well, personal choices, looking at the overall picture of your pond. If there's a budget to work to, you know, if that budget for me dictates, right, so choices here are, I have the Nexus, the brushes, the 600 litre moving bed, and a heat pump, maybe a few other bits and bobs, or I have the drum and I can't have the heat pump. I would take the heat pump every time, because having heat in that system is going to do far more for it than a drum ever will. I think obviously lifestyle choices play a part here. This is a working fish farm. There's always people here working on that stuff as well. So yeah, I think there's too much personal preference in that, but I will just reiterate again there, you know, with the whole drum thing, I've been very, very impressed with the ORs of one. And given I'm an ORs fan anyway, you know, all the pumps, etc. here running on it, I never doubted that would be the case. Just all I am seeing is that their drums are not just a natural fit for what I do. And there is a lot of shit out there. If it's one of the shits, it's just not something. If I'm having it, or you're having it, don't cut any corners. Go for the absolute best. Because if you get anything out of them, they will become a massive, massive chore. So I know I've not directly answered that, but it's not an easy one. I mean, the 600 litre moving bed is there either way. Absolutely fantastic. It's just that mechanical side to it. And I feel like there's a bit too much personal circumstances that's gonna creep into that one. But I don't really see any from an advantage perspective. Sorry, I missed that bit on the end. I'm not really feeling that, because I've got a lot of love for the brush chambers. You've just got the disadvantage of there's more manual labor involved. But if you see the one running in my pump fed system, the one system I designed, that water is flawless. And that brush chamber, I believe, is a piece of piss to clean. Other than when it comes to the deep clean, it's a bit more involved. But the week to week one, really, really easy. We're going to get on that one soon, Carl. Obviously, there was it 2.5 weeks into QT now, so we're going to have a look at the calendar and get that announcement out soon. That's Paul's question about the showers again. I've answered that. So if a golden corn doesn't develop Kanoko, is it then just a Karashigoi? That's a tough one, because we know generally they've got golden corn genetics. Yes, the Kanoko is a very, very big part of it. But also, for me, I believe the genetics in them is also a special part of it. And it depends which one it is. Yes, technically, I mean, you could get Karashi out of golden corn because it's in there in the mix. Obviously, it was way back. So, yeah, potentially. I had someone ask me this about the heel stories on Facebook, actually, because the heel stories I've got from Toyota are from Showa. Where is the line on that? Well, ultimately, it technically comes down to the pattern. If they're showing any white on the body, it's not technically a heel story. So that's more what it is. But knowing the bloodline, I think, makes it golden corn. But yes, if you add absolutely none and it's a really clean, crisp yellow, really you'd be heading more towards it being Karashigoi with those golden corn genetics, in the same way that the Asagi that come from golden corn and stay normal Asagi Yes, they're a saggy, but I think it's good to note that obviously there's golden corn genetics, because what for me that also stands for is the growth potential of them. It helps you understand the quality and potential of the yellow color or the red color, whichever one it is. So multi-layered, but if just very directly answering it, yes, you would. If it's just pure yellow, more technically it would be of golden corn origins. How's the zebras going? Yes, they're growing very well, actually. My colony of 10 small ones are growing superbly well. Again, I would love to breed them in future. I've also got a colony of 6 larger ones that I got from Wharf when they had them in, just to speed it up, because it's all right waiting, but I want to get some action and start learning from it. So they are doing very well. I actually had sort of Snow White Bristlenose had the first cluster of eggs the other night, but the male was a bit, I don't know actually if I spooked him or it's just his first lot and he's been a bit shit. So they ended up out of the cave, unfortunately. He ended up out of the cave, female in it, eggs out. Then the following morning, I knew that was coming. So fingers crossed that comes again soon. But yeah, still absolutely enjoying me tanks, although the upkeep is becoming, especially right now, under a lot more pressure here. It was even last night, and eventually got back live stream for the event, and then I was out in garage cleaning tanks and filters. So you would say at what point you're going to be sick at sighted fish, but seemingly not happened yet. Yes, that as well. There you go. The shirts, yeah, please don't. I was on it is still burning away. I don't think I'm going to get the deadlines for the Christmas stuff right now. Sorry to disappoint if you've been waiting, just because of time. Everything's up in the air. But whenever this happens, my priorities always become here is we've got obviously a lot going on, but keeping this fish and everything ticking over for what we do day to day has to take precedence. Jason, evening mate, currently fighting a bacterial infection. Is there an ideal temp to be at? Currently 21. This is mega swings and roundabouts. It's because you want the immune response. So the warmer the better, but then you're also balancing in that warmer water helps the bacteria multiply faster. So I would say, you're at a good temperature. If you're not getting necessarily the treatment plan and everything action fast enough, being a bit cooler might help, but certainly no lower than 18, because you're going to probably switch that immune system off a bit too much. But definitely it's a real balancing act, that one. The big priority, even over the temperature, is a solid treatment plan in place and acting on it as fast as possible. That's the bit that's really going to help you out in all that the most. And as recovery starts, or you stop the infection in its tracks, then yeah, the warmer it is from that point on, recovery will be even faster. Evening. Yes, there are. I am just behind with it, unfortunately. I've had to, I've been on a very manual job for a clump of my day today, unfortunately. So I'm going to be editing pictures this evening, and just everything will come together over the next few days, and there'll be more and more pondside as well running through till Sunday. So stand by for that one. More videos. Yes, I think the good news is that Aaron is coming back seemingly. So I'm very happy. Not quite as he was, because I'm going to actually help him with some of his wider ambitions in life, because can't get away. He's into his cars and stuff like I am my fish. So, but he's going to be back in the office a lot, and I cannot wait for that. And then there'll be more videos, because it really has slowed it down. There are a few waiting, but I have to do all the little the thumbnails and bits and bobs to get that up. Hence why that's been a bit slower. That is the most ridiculous question I've ever seen. Hi, do you know the best way to get eggshell out of your car? Guys, anybody want to jump in and answer that one? Wow. Fucking hell. Have you ever experienced a time where your fry seems to take forever to grow, no matter how good the water conditions and how quality of food you feed them? Well, for me, I've only had that one fry as in fry that first experience this summer. No, that hasn't been a problem. So no, personally, I haven't. I do sometimes have it with batches of smaller toast sour. I think, fucking hell, what's going off here? And sometimes I find it's a bit of a spooky science sort of instinct thing where I think I can see sometimes a pond just isn't performing, and trying to pinpoint it. It might be that it's a fresher body of water, not quite softened down yet, as I would call it, got a bit more natural acidity to it. But with fry, yeah, I mean, water temperature is going to be one of your absolute biggest ones. Water temperature and water quality combined is going to be a massive one. Then obviously if the diet you're on, if they're not absolutely loving it, is not going to help. But water temperature is massive in that. Is there a sweet spot with flow rates to achieve a bit of gassing off and biological filtering through a backy shower? We're about to have a second standalone shower, unsure on 15K or 20K. I think for me, this one, a sweet spot flow rates and achieving a bit of gassing off. That's also going to depend on what airflow setup you've got. If it's a completely closed off unit like my little trickle towers are, tops closed, bottoms closed, that's doing naff all for gassing off, aeration, you name it. It's just like a submerged filter but stood up. So bear that in mind. Flow rates, when it comes to flow rates, I think you need to look at the overall picture of your pond and decide from there what flows you want to be putting over. So combine turnover with any above pond, below pond filtration, gravity filtration, whichever, top that up. And then for me, the flow rate is dictated by your stocking but ultimately then your feeding and the feeding program even. So when you've got mine turned up like I have, hitting them every 2 to 3 hours, hard, heavily stocked, it just makes more sense. There's going to be more pollution being hit on a regular basis. So we want to pull that through and pass that through a bit more. So that's generally how I determine it. And I would say I could probably turn over a bit more even from where I am, but it's extreme circumstances. So you might not actually need all that much and benefit more from just having the broader biological capacity. Joining again from Western Canada, my 2,700 gallon pond is doing, oh my God, doing okay at -7 degrees C. Holy shit. Am I reading that right? Oh, are we talking air temperature -7? Because if you must, sorry, I've misread that. Because if that was yes, he's got it down there. Fucking hell. I was boggled there. I thought -7, you won't have a fish alive. Pond is insulated, in-ground, covered, shallow dome, greenhouse panels, heated with natural gas pool, heated 24 hours. Temp swings 1.5, fair enough. There you go, look, water temperature running at that. Yeah, well done. That's better than -7. Geez, I was going to ask you for some advice then on how the hell you're doing it. Happy days, though. Great, thank you so much for your help. I was stressing I had to cool the whole pond. Oh, there we go. Oh, no, sorry, that's the cart box one, not the fry one. I'm just coming back to that cart box one. That's just hit me. Stocking levels might be a thing with your growth there as well. It will plateau at some point if you're not managing the stocking correctly. Yeah, no, you absolutely don't. Cart pox is one of them things. It's a shitty viral illness, mainly from cold. Very, 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 very rare that a fish will ever succumb to it as well. So, yes. Daft question. Can you remember what bloodline my Sakai 3-step coracle was and what size of the parrot fish? No, Chris. I'm guessing if we hadn't, we might have have you not had a certificate, mate? If you had, it's probably here on one of my boxes or my stash, but that's definitely pushing it for me to just recall all that from memory. Bill, yes, it is going to be the same Quarry House for the Miss Toyota event the night before, 100%. In my heated pond, been adding clay daily since July as a trial. Seems to be working well on skin luster. I should imagine it is, Andrew. Just nothing really bad to come from that. Hello, I just added a new female 20 minutes ago to my indoor winter hold, and my male, which is a little bit bigger, is chasing all over. Should stop. That's likely you've just moved them to a new pond. Is that fresh water? If it is, you might just stir up some natural responses from them. I would expect it to calm down. More than likely, mate. More than likely. Obviously, I'm not in there all the time, but everything is growing very well at the moment. What is still being cooked up? Ian Ricky, how low temps do you feed Saki Kari balance? Yes, bag does say 18. What food? So I've always said this, I'll happily use that down to around 12, because even from 18 to 12, you're reducing, around about 12. You only really want a feed a day at the most, and not a massive one. Below that, really, it's going to be such minuscule amounts if you are even feeding, because you've got to manage your filters kind of being in hibernation more than anything, and it's lower fat as well. So for me, that's what ticks the boxes. I've always said I think wheat germ foods are a product made by the fish food industry to sell fish food in winter, because ultimately, if we just look back to Japan, most of them, when it gets cold, never feed, because they rarely feed indoors anyway, because they don't think that the filters aren't the best and well equipped for dealing with it. So even from there, after that, certainly when it gets cold, they have no interest in even trying that one. Hoping to fast for 6 to 8 weeks before slow warming. If you want to do that, again, it just depends on the circumstances. I had some information, I can't remember if it was Bryony actually from London Aquatic Vet mentioned some research she'd been looking at where it only takes around 7 days for egg reabsorption, but it's not necessarily what you might actually find. When I hear someone say they've got female with a lot of eggs, what you might actually have is a female with a shit body line, I'm sorry to tell you, because the reality is there. It doesn't matter what you ever do with that body. Starving them for a period will thin it down, but the minute you hit them with food again, it'll just get worse. And this is why the side profile of the fish, especially in females, and that belly line is so important. And you need that slow curve from the back of the head right up to the base of the peduncle if you can. The minute you get this curve, where about 2/3 of the way down, you get a tight thing, and then you extend to the peduncle, that's a body you're always going to struggle to manage. So you might just want to consider that. It's everyone's default to say yes, eggs. Naturally it will, because with that body line as well, there's less space for the egg that's in there to actually be spread out as well. Having recently seen what was probably the highlight of your career so far with becoming a breeder in Japan, what would you describe as the lowest point where you've almost packed in? Oh, Satch, this isn't strong enough for going into that, mate. Only water, by the way. Good question. From a koi keeping perspective, I don't think anything's ever pushed me that much, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously you get lows. I think I've been that used. If I look back, did have a period early doors with the greenhouses up here with my old man that was just fucking horrendous. Just had you questioning life. But I mean, I've been dealing with tricky batches of fish and stuff for that long now, and you think, to be honest, you just get used to being kicked. If it's a big fish, I walked in and it was dead tomorrow, or say, I know I have this with like Miss Toyota in Japan, so you know, I know Makoto was fucking cacking himself that it's there, and I'm just like, it is what it is. she dies tomorrow, she dies. I'm that used to you being kicked and kicked and kicked by fish screwing you over. Now become sort of pretty numb to it. And I'd say that there's always periods, to be honest, it's probably more related to the business side of things than it is the koi keeping side of things, because I think the passion that burns there, mate, I never, ever see. It's what provides all the energy for me doing this how I do. But the business side of it gets heavy at times. It really does. And especially, you know, like the past 12 months, you know, I've questioned life more than once, because we started the retail side of things, and the sheer scale that it's operated and just come at us at. It's made systems we'd built that were already kind of well tested. It's broken, and we've had to rebuild them. That it's broken, and you even get periods like this now with, say, personnel changes and bits and bobs, and you just start questioning life more than anything. Just like, fucking hell. So I think that side, and I was about to say then, I am compared to my koi experience, more inexperienced in the business world. That being said, I mean, koi wholesale, I think it's like 15 years old now. I'd had a few dabbles with retail before that for a couple of years as well. Obviously grown up around it, so there's a shitload of experience there as well. But I think compared to koi, different. But it is probably the bit, you know, time and there's been periods throughout all of that where probably the weight of that, if it wasn't for the passion of the koi, I would have packed it up 100%. So interesting, isn't it? And at times I just think, yeah, agreed. And that can, honestly, it can be week to week as well. But that's business, and then in a growing sort of fast-paced business as we are at the moment as well, it's stressful, it's heavy. You know, like this, you just get into a kind of flow state. We're looking onto the horizon of what we're going to be doing in Japan and bits like that, building up a team, and then a key person leaves who you thought was growing into a role. Yeah, and then that changes the dynamic, because that changes my workload once again, and then you're having to rebuild it. So I think not necessarily one event, but over the period of them business years, there has been plenty where I thought, I'm done with this. I am done with this. And that even goes as far back as when sort of Chris McHenry actually came into his role. I was at a point there, I can't even remember for what reason. I just wasn't completely happy in what I was doing from a business perspective, and it was weighing that heavy. I was just like, I think I just need to stop this, because the natural kind of energy was wearing off under the burden of that, or it was weighing too heavy. It was crippling it a little bit. So yeah, I think to answer it, not one key standout thing, but generally the business side does. It's this balance that I rely on, that passion to keep that and keep doing what we do every day, work as hard as what we do. So yeah, good question, Satch. Got me going a bit with that one. NND Sankey are doing phenomenally well. That is a video I am still waiting to hit the channel. That's my last day from that last Japan trip. Still not managed to get out yet, but it'll be coming. Thoughts on the Burton's BD 500 drum? I can't pass comment. I have no experience with them whatsoever, James. So unfortunately, not a question I can answer for you. Any opinion on copper nickel heat exchange? Oh, copper. Is that copper nickel heat exchanges? Yes, copper leaching at any point is a problem. You don't want that, full stop. Evening. Does ginnering have a negative effect on koi growth? Generally, yes, because it's like another level of inbreeding, if you like, to have got them there and create that beauty. But again, it depends on what bloodline now, because that has been rectified by several breeders. If we look now, Momotaro, probably one of the first with Ginrin Kohaku. They make monstrous Ginrin Kohaku that grow as big as the normal stuff. and there are more and more bigger Ginrin bloodlines for Go Sankey around now than there ever has been. But yes, generally it can impact. But if we look at Golden Corn, has no impact. It's really been, you know, it's a fundamental part of the bloodline. It's been done differently now. So I think now probably less than ever, but in some cases it definitely still will, bloodline dependent. Let's have a look. Just back on that one on the Montero, fair enough. Ricky, Jesus, look what time it is. Hi, Ricky. For a pump-fed Nexus 320, do you recommend a retro bottom drain? Let's just read that. For a pump-fed Nexus, do you recommend retro bottom drain into pump, into Nexus, or just run a pump into Nexus? Is it okay just to run a Nexus without any pre-filter? Yes, it's okay to run one without a pre-filter. There's that bit answered. I don't know how good a retro drain is because I've never run one, so I can't comment directly. All I can tell you is the flow is a bit more concentrated with the retro drain as opposed to just the pump. I mean, imagine when you've got that pump sat there, you've got this flow where it's trying to pull in from all over, as opposed to with a retro drain creating a bit more drag across the bottom. So as I've said it, that would probably be, providing they work well. I've not seen in practice, I've heard good reports, but definitely from that perspective would be the one to go for. There's dosages for clay on the packets of different ones. It's one of them for me. If you're doing it daily, I mean, you can just chuck a cupful in. Absolutely no harm with that, depending how much or how little you want to use. It's not something you can do too much harm with. I've got no idea, Simon. I've got no idea, mate. Yeah, doesn't surprise me though. Does not surprise me. Hi, Ricky. I don't like that comment. Simon, you're blocked now. Got one down here. Hang on a minute. Ricky, any thoughts on who would win? Wow, that is the most bizarre question I've ever heard in my life. And I've got no idea. No idea. There's koi channels and there's dealers who don't like questions. Your channel is the best. Well, thank you. As you've seen, I've done 126 hours now of answering questions. I don't tend to dodge very much. If anything, actually, I'm not sure I've ever dodged a question. Couldn't be having that. Oh, there you go. So an insight, hopefully, into the man for many viewers. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yes, looking forward to the Dainichi Hilsori selection. So see a couple of questions coming through twice. I'm guessing that is that anything to do? It might be with what's going on. Let's have a look. That's it. I'm about to hit the bottom. If you get the leaves, what's that? If you get the leaves in your pond, don't forget. Are there any other channels? No, I'm not actually sure what you're referring to there, David. Sorry, I lost track of that one. Costa, all right, wow. Anyway, I'm not getting involved in all that bit in the chat there. Happy day. Oh, sorry, relating to the retro bottom drain, by the way. Yeah, again, I've not used them, so I can't comment on that one whatsoever. There we go, ladies and gents. Thank you very much for everyone who's joined again this evening. Very much appreciated, as always, for your time. Great amount of viewers in again, which is very, very nice to see every every Wednesday when I can make it. So I'm going to go and check in now on what's going on out with that batch of fish and get myself home, because I am absolutely shocked. So yes, ladies and gents, thank you very much. I hope that stream was all right. I'll watch it back and see what was going on. But like I say, thank you very much, and hopefully catch you all next week.